Welcome to Week 3 NFL predictions. Week 2 was full of upsets. We managed to go 9-7, bringing our total win/loss ratio to 19-12. Alright, first up we've got the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. The Pats have looked better than I thought they would this season. Their defense is real. They had a few issues in coverage last week against Seattle, but Seattle has a much better receiving core compared to the Jets. They've defended the run well this season. It'll be interesting to see how they do against the Jets' run game, as the Jets have one of the better O-lines in the league. And both the teams the Pats have faced have had pretty average O-lines. I think this will be low scoring, a close game at that. Give me the Jets winning this at home, 23-17. Next up, the New York Giants are taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The Browns looked much better last week against the Jags. The offense still has a lot of work to do, but if their defense can repeat what they did last Sunday, they should have no problem with the Giants. Neighbors looked good, Danny Dimes looked better, but honestly I think Garrett picks up 2 to 3 sacks here and just turns out to be a long day for Jones. Give me the Browns winning this one, 26-13. Following that game, we have the matchup of the week for me. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. The Saints have undoubtedly been the best team in football over the last 2 weeks, averaging 45.5 points. They've scored 6 consecutive touchdowns against a pretty good defense in Dallas. Don't forget they went 8-0 last season during the regular season. Philly had the game in the bag and ultimately lost that game off a dropped pass. They then went on to play prevent defense, and the Falcons drove down the field in just over a minute to win the game. Not sure why teams play prevent defense when they're up late. I've seen so many teams lose this way, it's just getting ridiculous at this point. I expect the Superdome to be electric on Sunday after fans have waited years to see offense this great. Give me the Saints to continue their hot streak, winning 30-23. Then we go to the first matchup where someone's O has got to go. Vikings defense looked incredible on Sunday against the 49ers, and Sam Darnold continues to prove me wrong about how bad he is. Maybe now that he actually has a good system around him, he can flourish. The Texans' wins really haven't been that impressive to me, to be honest. Both their wins have been close, and both their teams have been very mediocre. I expected much more from the Texans, but with that said, they are still 2-0. Both these teams come into this game with some injury concerns, the main one being Jefferson. If he is out, give me the Texans to get it done, 21-17. If he is playing, give me the Vikings to win this one, 23-21. Next up, we've got the Denver Broncos taking on the Bucks in Tampa. Pretty straightforward pick for me here. Broncos offense has been horrendous with Bo Nix under center, who has 4 times the amount of interceptions to touchdowns, while the Bucks look like a top 5 team so far, beating out the Lions in Detroit. Simple pick here. Give me the Bucks winning this one, 26-16. Next up, we've got the Tennessee Titans, who try to defend home turf against the Packers, who are still without Jordan Love. The Packers managed to run their way to a win against the Colts, but I struggle to see that happening against the Titans' defense. The Titans' offense is giving up way too many turnovers, and it's costing them games. They could easily be 2-0, but find themselves without a win yet. I think that changes on Sunday night. Give me the Titans to stop the run game of the Packers, which is all they have. Very low scoring affair here. Titans to win, 16-10. Next up, we've got the Bears taking on the Colts. This is a 50-50 game for me. Both teams have looked beyond average to start the season off. The Colts showed promise in week 1 and then decided not to play in week 2. As for the Bears, their offense is just non-existent. It is some of the worst offensive football I've watched, and I've watched the Saints offense for the last 4 years. The Bears defense has looked good this season. It's all going to come down to whether Caleb Williams decides to turn up. Give me the Colts winning this one at home, 17-16. On to what will probably be the most boring game of the week unless you like defense. The Steelers host the Chargers in what will be another game where someone's O has got to go. Both teams are yet to face any real competition, so this will be an interesting matchup to see if either team deserves that 2-0 start. I expect this to be a low scoring game. Give me the Chargers winning this one, 16-13. Next up, the injured Dolphins head to Seattle to take on Geno Smith and the Seahawks. With Tua out, I really can't see how this game goes in the way of the Dolphins. I expect it to be a run-heavy offense for them, but the Seahawks will get out to a nice early lead, making it hard for the Dolphins to run the ball. Give me the Seahawks at home to win this, 26-17. Next up, we've got the Red Rocket coming off the bench and starting for the Panthers after they benched Bryce Young. Quite frankly, I don't want to waste any time on this game. Give me the Raiders at home. Their defense will be too good. I do think the Panthers will actually score some points this Sunday with Andy under center, but the Raiders will win this one, 20-13. That takes us to the 49ers taking on the most injured team in the league, being the LA Rams. At this point, the only two people I know on the offense is Stafford and Williams. The 49ers' struggles against the Vikings continue into this year after losing 23-17. The Rams are also coming off a loss to the Cardinals, who beat them by 31 points. I think the Rams are just way too beat up to compete in this game. Give me the 49ers to bounce back and win 27-10. Next up, we've got another game of the week. We got Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals' offense over the first two games has been great, averaging the second most points per game, just under 35 a game, and they got their first win after handing a beat down to the Rams. On the other hand, you got the Detroit Lions coming off a loss at home, only managing to put up 16 points. I expect a lot of change this game, a lot more runs, as the Cardinals haven't had the best run defense to start the year. I think the Lions defense will be too much for the Cardinals. Give me the Lions to win this one in a close one, 30-27. Then we go to what might be the biggest game of the week, as the Baltimore Ravens travel to Dallas and face, starting the season, 0-3 if they can't get the job done. Dallas get handed their first loss of the season by the Saints, and it was bad. The defense let in 6 consecutive touchdowns to lose the game, 44-19. They now face the Ravens, who will try to expose their run defense once again with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I think the run game will be too much for Dallas, and I got Lamar going for over 80 yards and taking the win, 24-20. Then we go to the Chiefs taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Chiefs seemingly get bailed out once again by the refs, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened here again too. The Chiefs looked very average against the Bengals and now lose Pacheco to an injury. The Falcons managed to get a last-minute touchdown to win the game in Philly on Monday night. Cousins looked much more comfortable in the pocket this game and looked his old self on that last drive. The Chiefs' defense has been great the first 2 games, and I expect no differences here. The Falcons have probably got the best defensive backs in the league, and it will be a challenge for Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'm expecting a lot of turnovers this game, but give me the Chiefs to win this one, 26-23. That takes us to the first game of Monday night. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Bills come into this game with 2 impressive wins, while the Jags come into this matchup with 2 disappointing losses. I do think the Jags are better than what we've seen so far, and they will be desperate to win on Monday night to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Jags defense has been solid, and it will come down to the offense to consistently put up points on the board, as they've gone cold in one half of each of the games. I think the Bills really won it this year despite losing a lot of their players in the offseason. Give me the Bills at home, winning in a close one, 26-23. That brings us to the final game of the week, where the Commanders travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who are still looking for their first win after a painful last play field goal by the Chiefs to snatch the win. The Commanders managed to pull out a win against the Giants despite not scoring a touchdown. I can't see the Bengals losing here if they're able to hold the Commanders to only field goals. This is normally when the Bengals start to heat up as well. Give me the Bengals to get their first win, winning 30-20. That brings another predictions week to a close. Let us know what you got down in the comments below, and until next time, bye.